Well, somebody's close.
Is my voice lagging at all, by the way, because of how we're cross-continental?
No. It sounds fine for now.
It sounds fine.
Okay.
For now is the keyword, Hal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, by the way. I haven't had an opportunity to speak to you as of yet.
Okay, so all right, so Chaz is Charlie, and
Yes.
Rob is Rob, I would assume.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
That's it.
Charlie.
Or Rob,
Ross?
Or like Ross? No,
Ross.
I mean you can.
I thought you said Ross. I was like, wait. Now I'm really thrown off.
Oh, if only
Rob.
I could be as awkward and gangly as David Schwimmer.
Fucking hell.
Like on a short list of human beings who came out of an egg, I feel like David Schwimmer's quite high up there.
Fucking hell.
Quite the gangly one.
Alright, I think we should do the intro. So welcome, lads. Welcome back to the
When
podcast.
did we get an intro?
We always had an intro. We'd start, but no, the intro would just be us sharing links because we'd never be able to do it properly.
The intro would be we'd get into the podcast, we go, we're live with 0 viewers, so let's just do the setup, let's send links.
I mean, I could help with coming up with an intro. I'm an expert on intros myself.
I mean, go
please
for
do.
it.
In fact, the floor is yours.
Introduce us. Go for it.
Good evening.
Great. For fuck's sake.
That's it.
We're like 2
That's
minutes
it.
in.
We're done here.
Oh my fucking god.
I'll shut up, I will. A part of it was like, we are in the presence of ASMR. Be silent, be respectful. Wait for it.
Yeah.
Wait for it. Here it comes.
Good evening.
Oh my god.
Oh, fuck's sake.
See, the difference between my normal streams and right now is I'm wearing a headset, so I don't know how loud I am when I approach the mic.
I mean, it gets louder,
You're
that's for
appropriately
sure.
loud.
All
I mean, I've adjusted the volume. Everything's good right now, okay? We're at
If you say so.
that fine line between, like, good and perfect.
So if I start speaking really muffled, really far back, then it's gonna really fuck the audio up.
I mean, not
Oh, no.
completely. We could still hear you.
No.
Of course.
We can still hear you, but it's like, who is this man and what is he doing to it?
What is he doing?
So, ladies and gentlemen, formal introductions. Because we have a guest, I'm going to go through a slight introduction because I havenly had the opportunity to properly speak with him. I am Ragnarob. You know me from video games, memes, and all of that random bullshit. I have glasses. I am brown. Those are my 2 definitive factors. Chaz, give yourself a little intro.
Oh god, I'm total intros. I'm a pink-haired twat on the internet that no one likes to associate with.
Wow, and we mainly focus around video games, anime, nerdy bullshit, waifu recently.
Who's the edgy one? Me.
Of course you're the, like, I'm prim, I'm proper, and I do my job. You, on the other hand, are like
just then.
actually a masturbatory gremlin in the corner.
Go.
Oh my
if
lord.
That's what you want to assign me as, then just destroy my reputation right here and right now.
Your reputation is a masturbatory gremlin. What are you talking about?
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not going to disagree.
Still higher than Steven, so.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Let's be nice. You're not wrong, but.
And who the hell do we have on the podcast with us today?
I don't know. Who do we have on the podcast today?
You have me. You've took over my podcast now. Do you want the password for my YouTube channel while you're at it?
Oh, wait a second. Is that me? Oh,
That
that's
is
me.
you.
Hi. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, no
I am,
problem.
Thank you for being here.
I mean, we should be thanking you for being here, literally, because you don't know, like, how hard it actually is to get someone with this shit channel I have.
I mean, this is what I said to my stream today. Like, I told people that I was gonna, like, I had to finish up the stream, and I was gonna be coming to join this podcast.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
saying, if you're not going to go out of your way a little bit and help out smaller channels, you should never expect other bigger channels to cooperate with you and work with stuff with you.
That's literally how I see things as well.
I just said, you know what? Or when you sent me the email, I was like, you know what? This might be fun. Why not?
Fun. We're having fun, guys. Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm having
Getting
super fun.
getting to know Master Beatty Gremlin or whatever the fuck. And,
I mean,
Black
you're
Steven
gonna
Universe.
believe him. Wow. Okay.
oh, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Reckon. I'm from, or I am one half of the channel Reckon and You. I will be representing both of us
Oh, great.
on this podcast today.
Wait, are we keeping the magic alive? Is that what we're doing?
Are we keeping the magic alive? Is that what we're doing?
What magic?
Oh, you're right. What magic?
Duh. Before we go on, there was some...
What magic?
Fuck's sake.
Charlie asked me to not do something cringeworthy, and I want to get it out the way.
God.
ごめんなさい。日本語を少し話します。元気ですか?
そんなに話してえなら、
I
背中を張ってまっすぐ話せ。
So I just have to sit here and just let...
No, you can. I mean, I fucked up. I don't know what he said.
I'll just
I heard
be-
Hanase.
See, it was all a bait because I knew that I would be able to respond with something that you wouldn't be able to respond to, just to
Yeah.
make you look bad and put me on a pedestal.
Thank you. I really
This
was
is-
hoping that would happen.
No, I'm just taking it out of me. 日本語話しますか？そうですか？すごいですね。
That's such a bullshit response. It's like, oh, surprisingly.
I could kind of tell from the tone that this is pure shit that's coming out of your mouth.
It was basically just, hey, I speak a bit of Japanese. Oh, I also speak Japanese.
but more than you.
Hell. So, Chad,
It was-
you're living in Japan, is that right?
I do live in Japan. I live in Tokyo, in fact.
Holy shit. And what circumstances led a very American-sounding individual to be living there?
Well, actually, it's quite a long story.
Oh shit! Well, let's go
It's
into
not-
that. Let's go into that.
Oh no, it's not that long of a story.
Cool.
I lived in Michigan previously,
Yeah.
and I finished high school, went to a year of college at Michigan State University, and I dropped out because I just wasn't feeling it. Like
Big mood.
college wasn't the direction that was gonna take me to wherever I wanted to go.
Where
That's
do you
just
want
the
to go?
that's the big mood. Yeah, that's the big
Yeah.
mood I got.
Where-
so
Where is it you
My
want to go?
family, so my family at the time, they I mean, obviously we were all living in Michigan
Yeah.
together, but my stepdad's work took everyone to Japan actually, which is where I was born, and I grew up in Japan until
Yeah.
I was around 9 years old, and then we moved to Michigan.
Oh.
But so they had moved back to Japan basically for my stepdad's work, and they were like, hey, I mean, if you're not gonna do the college thing, why don't you move over here for a little bit and figure out what you want to do? And I was like, you know what, I just might, because I didn't have much else going for me
No.
at that
Yeah.
time. I just knew I didn't want to be at college. I
Yeah.
didn't want to be at
Yeah.
I
university.
get that.
And so I moved to Japan. I attended a language academy for a little while to relearn Japanese to just get back into because I had forgotten, like almost all of it. I couldn't really even, read any of the signs. It was just awful. I was fully disconnected from the Japanese part of my brain. I was just full white boy, basically.
So when having a discussion about languages, do you tell people Japanese is your mother tongue or is English your mother tongue?
No, English,
Okay,
for sure.
Because I've got a similar weird circumstance. I was born in the Netherlands, and one of my two parents primarily spoke Dutch around us. But I speak the tiniest bit of Dutch, and I've been back to Holland many times and never been able to pick up anything. Like, English is the only language I speak. I've tried learning Japanese and Dutch on the side, but without living in the country and without having active opportunities to use it, you will either lose it or just never develop it, and it bums me the fuck out.
No, it honestly doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times you visit a country. It's if you don't live in a country, you're never going to be fluent in a language.
Definitely.
Unless you're just otaku studying the shit out of a language and just like, I don't know, you're ignoring all of your surroundings and you just don't
Yeah.
talk to anyone and that's all you're doing is just studying a language, you know, wherever, it doesn't matter if it's like that country's or if you're living in that country or not. But for the most part, when you're learning a language, it's essential that you live in that country.
Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's so important.
Yeah, no, it is.
It depends like how far you're willing to go though as well. Like because deciding you want to learn something as big as a language, that's like you need to make that decision and stick with it. You know what I mean?
You can piss about with it. There's several million active Duolingo and Memrise users who will regularly be
you've got to
learning
make
bits and bobs,
effort for that.
But yeah, it's an effort. But the point is, there are so many people active on that website, but so little of them really learning a language. Like they'll learn phrases and bits and bobs, and it's a nice little support thing. But I think ultimately it will just come down to immersing yourself in that environment where you have those opportunities.
It's just people's attention span, really. Like people like when people strike an interest in something, like a video game or like I don't know, like a music group or a language, they're gonna be interested in it for like a week, and then they're gonna drop interest. Unless you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
There's a difference between an interest and a passion, you know. And I think that's what it was for me at university. Like going to college, going to university, or like doing the stuff that I was doing there. It was an interest, but doing stuff like YouTube, doing or having a creative outlet. That's like a passion.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a big personal issue for me at the moment. I'm struggling to bridge the gap between interests and passions because growing up, I've bounced around a lot. In fact, just to open up the conversation a bit more, so the reason why you're here is because we primarily discuss whatever the hell we might be somewhat interested or passionate about on this podcast, and that always goes to geek culture for the most part. And Chaz, for the past maybe 2.5 weeks, has been on this big ASMR hype, where it's a huge portion of all the content he's intaking.
The strangest way it happened, because you know good old YouTube like recommended. I was literally scrolling and I just saw one of your streams. I was like, "What is this? Let's just have a look." I've never watched ASMR. I don't know what this is.
Let's have a little look-see.
Shut the fuck up! You've been doing that for like 2 weeks now. Jesus. So I just watched it, and I was like, I kind of like this, and it was more of like a guilty pleasure at first, because it's like I feel like ASMR is kind of like so fucking what's the word,
niche,
taboo in a way, you know.
It's still for how popular it still has like a negative connotation to it.
Yeah. But like, I was just watching it, and I was like, I need to check more of this out. Like, and I kind of just went down the rabbit hole, and here we are now.
So
here we are now.
Your name's Rekken, yeah? REKKEN.
I mean, that's not my real name.
Okay,
but that's my channel.
What would you like to go by if I'm being friendly on a podcast?
We can go by Rekken.
Rekken. Very simple question for you: is ASMR your or one of your passions?
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, like I started to have trouble sleeping probably senior year of high school, the year I went to university, just around that time. So what, like four years ago ish, I started to have real insomnia problems. Like couldn't sleep for like an hour or two. You know, like just laying there, eyes closed, nothing would happen.
Yeah.
So, and that was when ASMR still was a rather like small thing, and like you were like people who listened to quote unquote ASMR, it was more like you listened to like podcasts like this, or you would listen to like, I don't know, background like LCS, I don't know, League of Legends, like what I did, like casters calling out a bunch of stuff, but low, I don't know, like, or listen to rain sounds or calming music or whatever it was.
For me,
and
like, oh sorry, carry on.
Oh no, sorry. And when I moved to Japan, actually, I discovered it was Pomo. I discovered Pomo at first, and then I discovered GB ASMR, and then I discovered a couple other ASMRs who were starting out. And I just I really started to I just started listening to it. Not even like every night, but just when I was doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have earphones, headphones, and whatever, and just be listening to ASMR just because it just felt good. It like
Yeah.
calmed me. I don't know what it just like. It filled like some sort of gap that wasn't there.
On a
And
real
I feel like that was my I'm sorry. Like I'll wrap this up.
That's fine.
That was like I wanted to start a YouTube channel to just make content. Like
Yeah.
I just want to make content. It didn't really matter what it was, but ASMR is the thing that kind of stuck, and it was the thing that
yeah.
a lot of people seem to enjoy. So that's what I decided that I would do for now, and that's why I'm doing it
Okay.
at the moment.
On a real, like, I kind of found myself in the same situation. Like, for about years now, I've always been like sleeping to like background noise, and sometimes it'll just wear off. Like, it'll just not be able to like make me relax. I don't know why. And like last week, I was stressed as hell. Like, I don't know why, but sometimes I just get like these really just low points, just really low emotional points.
No,
And
I understand.
literally, like, your content has kind of like helped me like just relax and just shut off and just listen to something. So like, thank you for that.
Oh, you.
Such wholesome. Oh,
Yeah, it's such a wholesome podcast. Thank God you haven't seen our last like 3 videos.
Does that so? Reckon real talk. Does that make you happy or uncomfortable or both?
No, it does. No, it does. No,
Because-
I mean, I've gotten used to so many guys and girls commenting about like how it's like helps
Yeah.
them sleep, or how it turns them on in some in some circumstances.
Hang on. Can we discuss that for a second?
Make my pee-pee happy.
So like,
Well,
I
if
feel
you
like I think like one of the massive like, or one of the bigger like talking points about ASMR is whether it's sexual or not.
Yeah.
So, your honest opinion, is it sexual or
Yeah.
not? Or is it kind of both ways?
my ASMRs, for example, is not sexual.
Yeah.
There are certain innuendos in like my boyfriend ASMR,
I've
for
watched
example.
it.
Yeah, like I make suggestive comments per se, but that's just being directly like quote unquote sexual, but that's not it's not like sexual to the point where oh I'm like making it's like audio porn, it's just like it's more for the emphasis of realism and like the interactive like the interactive story that I'm trying to make with those, know. Whereas how the media is depicting ASMR is that it's just like literotica basically. Like it's just audio porn and people get off to it,
But
which is
fuck
not
the
the
media.
case. Like 99% of ASMR is not sexual
Yeah.
at all.
So like, do you have any goals for it? Like, do you want this to like
What's the
go
end goal?
somewhere?
Of your
Yeah.
content?
Well, I want to continue doing my ASMR stuff. Obviously, it's really nice to see how many people I'm able to help, like yourself, Charlie, with their insomnia problems, with their sleeping problems, with their stress problems, anxiety problems, whatever it is. It's really nice to see that I'm actually able to have some sort of effect. In that way. But I also, my long-time dream has been to want to be a director of film.
Okay.
Oh yes.
And I also, I would love to be a part of like animation, like directing an animation.
Yeah.
It's a very like unreachable goal, but I would love to direct a series like an animated Albus Potter series, like a sequel Harry Potter series.
Okay.
But like his son and his 7 years at Hogwarts, but animated.
Okay.
I feel like
yes.
I feel like an animated Harry Potter series would be absolutely amazing because there's so many things in animation you can do that you just can't do in real life. There's so many emotions you can show in animation that you can show or that you can't show in real life. And I think trying to do magic in a medium, like animation, like anime or animation, just seems really, I don't know, intriguing to me. And I've wanted to do that for a long time, or I've had this ache that I need to do something like that.
Honestly, I respect that. I kind of had
I
like
love
the same thing. I really want to like similar to you. I want just a really fucking gory anime, like horror anime. I don't know why.
Please elaborate.
I just
exactly
want one.
like me.
Do you mean
I just want
you
to
want
make one.
Saw, but the anime? Because I feel like Saw is as far as like movies go, Saw feels like the pinnacle of gore for the sake of gore. Like there's a lot of horror movies that'll depict body horror.
Yeah, but I hate like the real like in an actual horror movie. I hate gore. It's so weird, but I just hate it. I can't stand it. But I feel like in an anime, I'd want it. Like that's just kind of me.
I do agree that it feels underexplored. Maybe it's because the stuff that's most publicly available in anime is so far attached from horror as a genre. Like the last horror thing that I remember coming out was the Junji Ito collection, which was trash because it did not respect the source material. It just didn't do anything to capture the detail of the source material. And I'm being pretentious because that's just what I'm capturing from other people's reviews. I haven't gone and watched it myself. I want to be very open with that. But I've seen a lot of the source material from Junji Ito, and it's a shame that they had something so beautiful and then made something so lackluster when the market already is so undersaturated with good horror in terms of anime.
I mean, it's not really horror, but does that mean you're a fan of Berserk, Charlie?
Oh,
I've not watched Berserk. My taste in anime is so slim. I'm gonna be honest. Like the only thing I watch is like JoJo and fucking My Hero Academia, and that's it.
Oh boy.
yeah, right.
No, hang on.
God, what's
I mean,
going on?
listen. No hate on My Hero Academia because I love My Hero Academia. Like, I actually like it's like one of my favorites, and I keep up with the manga. I was actually right when you guys called me. I was just about to open up my.
Wow.
I shouldn't be saying this, but I was just about to open up Manga Stream to catch up with them on the new chapter.
Well, sorry for interrupting
because
you.
it is just so good right now.
Well, you see, we're filthy anime weebs. I prefer to watch it. That's just me.
Well, no, I prefer anime too, but like there are some exceptions that I just like I want to read the manga as well for.
I guess if you
because
want
like
more,
the original source material is just if you want more, that's right.
The last manga that I think I read was My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness. Which was have you? Oh, you read it?
I haven't, but I know people who have read it, and I mean I want to read it. It looks really good.
It's fairly short, like it's easy to get through. I to be honest, I am also vast I consume when compared manga to anime. It's 95% anime. I read a very small amount of manga, but I picked it up because it won the and I know Crunchyroll is not an authority, but it won the Crunchyroll Year's Award for best manga, so I thought I'd give it a go.
I mean, those awards are pretty scuffed, but we'll let it slide for now.
It was still enjoyable. It was a nice perspective. Like it didn't do a lot to. If I was to criticize it, it didn't do a lot to benefit from the medium that it was in. It didn't like good mangas make good use of the fact that they're in a manga. They do stuff with the paneling and the page turning and all that rubbish. It did none of that. It was more just focused on a fairly emotional story. But there's definitely stuff to appreciate. Like I feel like in the modern climate, whenever a story touches on mental health, it'll get praised regardless, which is a little bit snowflakey. But it was nice either way. There was I appreciated the way it handled issues of I mean, I don't really want to spoil it. Long story short, it's a whole load of mental shit. But I think it's worth picking up.
These days, in general, anything social justicey, it's really hard to criticize because then people think you're like, anti-Semitic or you're out to get people's rights or something. Just like no, it's just a bad work of fiction or a bad work of art. Or I don't know. It's really hard to criticize.
I remember when Rob, when you told me to watch, what was it called? A Silent Voice.
Oh, yes! Sorry.
I watched it, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. And then when I went to my Discord server, and everyone else on my Discord server watched it, and they were all saying like, oh, they cried and it was so like heartbreaking. I was like, I didn't.
It was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, but I was just saying like, I didn't cry, and then apparently I'm the bad guy for that.
It's like crying when experiencing art is so hit and miss.
Yeah.
Like you can absorb the same piece of media on 3 different days and elicit 3 different reactions just because how you're feeling or how receptive you want to be at the time.
Yeah.
You can generally appreciate it in a similar way, but like you don't have to cry at something to validate it by any means.
And not just that, but things that evoke emotional response change per person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like people like there are obviously like very overarching and like blanket like responses that people try to, or like directors or story creators will try to pull out of you with a certain situation or scenario in a story. But like there were like for me 2 different spots in A Silent Voice that I did cry at. Like and they were very specific. They were very specific too. Like the part where he was saying I'll never kill myself again to his mom. That was heartbreaking and that made me cry. And then the part where the mom and the daughter were apologizing. And got like we're like bowing, to his mom. That was all. That also got me.
That bit nearly got me. All right.
Yeah. That being said, that being said, nothing has evoked a harder emotional response from me than Your Lie in April. Like,
shit. Okay.
Let me just say, Your Lie in April is a bar setter when it comes to like what an emotional response is when watching an anime, or even just television or movies, just any like media source in general. Just Your Lie in April actually fucked me up. So like it numbed me.
I've got an issue, which is my ex-girlfriend loved Your Lie in April, and she would watch it, and it would be peripheral to me. So I never picked it up, and I'm not a huge fan of my ex-girlfriend. So like all the media that she used to consume is locked away in a little box where it's like touch when ready. So this might be the turning point. Should I go back and watch Your Lie in April?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Don't restrict yourself. Don't restrict yourself from watching good anime just because like someone you don't really someone you dislike watched it.
Honestly, I kind of want to like, because literally the only thing I will watch is like literally shonen, or not even like a wide appreciation. It's literally like JoJo or MHA. No, but listen, all right. I want to like get into like more. I want to like spread my I want to spread my appreciation for it. But like another thing is I just genuinely don't find time. And I know that kind of sounds dumb.
That is a lie.
What do you mean it's a lie?
You have so much time.
Listen. Okay, listen to this. All right. Listen to this. Listen to me.
At 2 p.m. I've done nothing but eat Domino's pizza and went to bed.
No. All right. I've been editing a lot recently, okay? I had to edit...
Getting called the fuck out.
Alright, Rob, I had to edit a 49-minute video, no thanks to you, because you had to take a shit mid-episode. Mid-recording, you went to take a shit. Not only that...
Taking the mickey out of you.
Not only that, you put face cam on. And then you were like, oh no, you can leave that bit in. It's funny. And then I left it in. You were like, you should delete that.
No. Right. So Reckon, let me some context. For starters, there is something that I need to address about cultural appropriation. Are you saying take the mickey? Are you using British vernacular and taking the mickey?
Let me one up you. Let me one up you by saying I'm 25% English.
Oh my God.
Jesus, a full 25%.
A full 25%. My grandfather is a Brit.
To be fair, there are some things that I steal from Americans. I use the word y'all, even though that is nowhere in the British vernacular.
Yeah.
I should not be using that word. I use it all the time.
Honestly, why restrict ourselves? Yeah, why restrict ourselves to slang within our own countries when there's perfectly good slang all over the world?
It's because it sounds dirty. When American people say the word wank, that sounds dirty. That sounds weird.
when an American says
when you were having a wank.
When an American says twat, that's what gets me.
No!
That's what gets me. That is what gets me.
Yeah. I don't ever use twat because
Good.
because there's like a pronunciation to it. Like if you're not saying twat, if you're not saying twat,
because there's more.
then it's not right.
Visceral.
Because Americans say twat, and it just doesn't sound it doesn't sound the same. It just doesn't have the same oomph to it.
If someone comes up to me and says "you fucking twat," I'm gonna feel that because it's like it's sharp and quick.
You're a twat.
If someone says that to me, I'm just gonna be like, okay. Like,
when I hear the word twat, my dick goes backwards. Like it recedes inside itself.
Turns to a small egg.
A woman.
Oh my god.
Wait. So going back on track of shonen anime. Sorry to like go back up or
it's fine.
off
Don't
track.
worry.
Off track, on track. I don't know. But Charlie, have you watched Attack on Titan?
I watched the first season. Tried to get back
Same.
into it. Didn't have enough time.
Apparently it's gotten way better.
Apparently
It's so
really
good. Yeah, no. Season 3, part 2 actually just elevated the show so high. Like it's so good. And it's shonen, it's horror, and it's gore.
Yeah, Charlie.
I watched because what happened was I watched season 1 back in like 2013, and then like it took like 5 years for another season to come out. And by then I was like,
no, I felt the same way. Yeah, no.
When like season 2 came out, I watched like the first episode. I was like, you know what, I'm not into this anymore. But it's because like if they had released it like say a year later or so, then I would be into it. But 5 years or something like that was way too long. I just lost all interest with it.
It's like the hiatus of Steven Universe.
I mean, I would definitely like add it to the list and try watch it when I can. But I'll have to like sit down and watch it and give it a go.
Reckon, do you have a Twitter that I could follow for memes and such?
At Reckon200.
Reckon 200.
You just plug yourself in my podcast. I said disc.
And my Instagram
Go
is
for
the
it.
same
Go
handle.
for it. Go for it. Go for it.
My Instagram is the same handle at Reckon200.
You've got a body pillow. Disgusting.
No, I respect that. I want one.
Oh,
You know my Instagram or my Twitter?
I'm on your Instagram right now. You'd like to? Is that a knife that you've got? No, it's just your balled up fist in a hoodie. I thought you were holding a knife. Oh, right. So intrusive question. What is your genetic makeup? You've clearly got lilts of Asian.
I've got half Asian and I've got half Chex Mix.
Chex Mix.
Yeah, that's what we call, or that's what I call a white variety.
Okay.
So part of that's like the quarter English. Part of that is like a bit of Irish, a bit of Scottish, a bit of Cherokee.
Okay.
So that's not really white.
Okay.
Not like a ton.
Yeah.
But, part like Scandinavian, just a little bit of everything.
I have
And then
like
just half Japanese.
So, but the half Japanese is like the thing that shines through the most because that's like the purest DNA in there.
I have like no idea what my fucking like heritage is.
I can help you.
Don't
You're
know.
white.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm guessing. But I could be. You never know. I could be a little Irish. You never know. So I'll be like 99%, 99.99% in Mansfield.
There's that scene from the Boondocks where Uncle Ruckus doesn't want to be black, so he takes a DNA test, and they're like, "Mr. Ruckus, you are 105% African with a 5% margin of error." Oh my god, how it's a weird conversation. Trying to pitch your roots together, because like I always have to have a different answer when people are trying to figure out your nationality or your ethnicity, because I'm British raised, and if I open my mouth and all of this British rubbish falls out, but if I have to tell people where my bits are, then my my black side is 100% Dominican, and my white side is 100% Dutch, and Dutch is slightly not necessarily the same thing as English Caucasian. So it's what corner of white might you be? I said you be. Fuck you be. Sorry, there's a guy that we know who's
don't give him
online
attention.
name is Yubi, and he's
Hi, UB.
I think he just loves lollies. I think.
Oh, all right. Bye, UB.
Cancel. We say that, but is your other persona a lolly?
Yeah. Other persona? You mean my sister? Is my sister a lolly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, not really a lolly, but like close.
Where's your sister
Yeah.
now?
Close.
Some might appreciate her for lolly.
Where is she now?
Mm.
She's out in Shibuya.
Oh,
Oh,
she
hell.
damn.
Oh, can I tell a story from? Oh wait, no. Oh no, it's a story from Shinjuku. Fuck, it's still a story. Chaz, I don't know if I've told you this story, but
You
the one
could've.
time I went to Japan, I went to Japan about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, did you?
With
Awesome.
my ex at the time. It was a lovely time and actually gave me an opportunity to be like, watashi tachi wa Harajuku ni ikimasu. Densha eki wa doko desu ka? And then they go, I love this because I was so proud of myself that I learned how to say, we're going to Harajuku. Where's the train station? And then the second she was like, oh yeah, you just go left and right and it's over there. I understood none of that. So I was great and could say the sentence and it was,
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes pretending to know you can speak Japanese is a bigger hindrance than speaking in slow
Yeah.
English
It's a
to
fatal
someone
error.
with broken English.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in Japan, they're like expecting you, or not in Japan, in Tokyo, they're expecting tourists to come up to them and speak English, and then they're like, okay, we need to, all right, English, all right,
You need to
go.
ready himself.
And then the tourists are like speaking Weebanese, like watashi wa ima Shinjuku ni ikimasu, and then they're like, oh, these
Yeah.
these niggas can speak English. Yeah, these niggas can speak Japanese.
Oh my god.
So they fluently speak Japanese to those tourists, expecting that they can understand them, and then the tourists are like, Monka S, Pikachu meme.
Oh.
But you don't want to be like, oh, actually, I didn't understand what you said there. I'm gonna speak in English
Yeah.
instead, and then because that's you're gonna down yourself there.
It's like you're
Yeah.
a fraud, you know?
Yeah, you're taking a big L by doing that. So
Which big old anime girl is your avatar?
that is Miku. No, not Miku.
Wow, this is
she's
embarrassing.
she's from Cinderella. Hold on. I'm a little tipsy.
So's Chaz. Why are you drinking?
Sakura guy. Wait, no.
Fuck! Nagai Kakaragumi.
Leaves call.
Oh, I didn't even tell you my story. Fuck. So,
Hold on. I'm gonna look her up real quick. I totally forgot her name.
Wow.
Oh,
How you
it's
gonna forget your
it's this
wife
girl.
like that?
It's this girl. Oh, it is Mika.
Mika.
Mika. What? Jogasaki. That's what her last name. I didn't see it.
Jogasaki.
I remember Mika from Cinderella Girls.
Okay.
I don't know. I have never watched Cinderella Girls, and I don't really know who this character is. But I've used like 4 different GIF variations of this girl for my Discord because
Yeah.
I just like the character design.
Spicy. So, story time. I
Story
visited
time.
Japan a couple years ago, and because this was much more my girlfriend's holiday than mine. All we did was shopping in Tokyo, which was a terrible shame that we didn't like go and see Odaiba or Mount Fuji or we didn't even touch any Shinkansen the whole time we were there. But
Really?
yeah, we just went to Tokyo. We went to maybe 5 or 7 different wards. Shinjuku, Shibuya, Harajuku, loads of Harajuku. It was a good time, but it was a shame that we didn't do more, so I'd love to go back. Regardless, my partner had just gone back to the hotel room. We were staying in Hotel Gracery in Shinjuku. I believe there's a big Godzilla on the building. And I was around the Shinjuku area. I hope this is fair to say, Shinjuku, a lot of Shinjuku, red light district of Japan, where they just have sex work nearby, and they have a lot of signs that just say DVD, and just women, and it's weird.
No. That's actually fairly accurate. Like right by Toho Cinemas, the movie theater, the IMAX theater in Shinjuku. Like there's a ramen shop that I go to like before I go and see a movie sometimes with my friends or whatever. And right in front of that ramen shop, there's literally a soap land.
Oh no!
And I don't know if you know what a soap land is. It's basically for the viewers who don't know what a soap land is.
Yeah,
it's basically
for all three people.
A thing called a Nuru service, where the girls get in bathing suits, like really small bikinis, and they like rub soap all over themselves, and then you get naked and they just rub themselves on you and like clean you with their bodies, quote unquote.
A dream.
And then obviously there are implied services other than just that, like if you pay more or whatever, blah blah blah. I've never been in one. I probably will never go in one, but you know, for those of you who that sounds good to, you know, feel free.
Get yourself a soap land.
Get yourself a soap land today for free massage for every 3 purchases.
So just to finish off the story, I was in Shinjuku, red light district area. Lots of weird second, third, and fourth floors that all look like places to house sex workers. And I was alone. I was alone, and I was a gaikokujin. I was a foreigner, so I was easy to pick out as like tourist bait to put in a
you're like 6'4" and like brown with an afro.
On the last day,
I'm guessing with your typical bright coloured shirt with your fucking bright suspenders and bow tie.
I was wearing an aqua blue shirt with a dark blue bow tie and the Cascade badge from Misty's gym.
Oh, you fucking...
just to cement the weeaboo.
Great, fantastic.
It was well good, but as I was walking back, a guy's trying to stop me and get my attention. I'm like, oh, it's sumimasen. and he's got like a laminated sheet of paper in his hand, and he walks up to him and I'm like, I'm sorry, I do not know how to talk to you. And he just goes, da, 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 da. And then he points at the laminated picture, and it's like a scantily clad woman. I don't need to say not wearing much. That's implied by scantily clad. There's a scantily clad woman on this piece of paper, and he just goes, sexy. And he just taps his finger on the girl. And I'm like, gekko desu. What's no thank you?
Gekko desu. That's fucking brilliant.
Oh, there was another thing that I did that I was so embarrassed about in retrospect, because I knew that I knew enough Japanese to be trying to speak Japanese, but not enough to be doing very well. And I went to like a mall near Shibuya or Harajuku, and they have this thing in Japan which they don't have in many English shops, which is if a shop is small, they'll just have a weirdly orderly queue going into the shop so you can spend a bit of time in there and then leave. So I was just walking through a mall, wanted to go into the shop, started to walk inside, and then I was ushered into a queue, and I thought, oh, I'm in a queue. I better do that British thing where I accept the reality of the circumstances and don't do anything else. So I waited in this queue to get into like a fan shop for Lupin the Third, or that. Who's that detective who has like 7 brothers?
Conan.
Yeah, it was like a Conan fan shop somewhere. I went in, did a quick circle, left, and then the guy who had ushered me into the shop, I just went, Nanto imi desu ka? And then left. Right. What I said was, what does this mean? Like, that's the closest thing I can think of to, why did you make me go in the shop? Just, what does this mean? Oh, Weebanese.
That man probably tells that story every night to his children.
I hope so. I hope I've had a lovely effect on somebody. I wish I fucking uploaded, then I'd have an effect on people.
I mean, yeah, but that's kind of your fault. You've been playing Minecraft for the past, like, week.
Well, now I can do a funny moments compilation.
No, you
from
can't.
that. Well, yeah, man. It was a good stream. Right, that's beside.
Do it.
Those are my stories. Reckon, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Outside of ASMR, so you've explained that like a dream project of yours would be to be into cinematography and animation, directing all that stuff. And currently, the kind of content that you work on is ASMR streams, and I'm not sure what much else around that, how much else you do. But long story short, what I want to know from you is what art mediums inspire you the most? What are you absorbing the most of? What YouTubers do you watch? What animes do you watch? Like, what mediums of art do you care about and actively engage with?
I mean,
valid response.
Obviously, as we've talked, we've talked about, like anime. Like I enjoy, watching quite a decent amount of anime.
Mm-hmm.
I love fantasy. I love like The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones season 8 was a little disappointing. Game of Thrones season 7 was slightly less disappointing than season 8, but it was still disappointing. Whatever, we're gonna get over it. But
when considered
one of
in its entirety, it's all right.
But yeah, the biggest inspiration for me is probably Peter Jackson and his work with The Lord of the Rings. Just by far the greatest fantasy series of all time that that was created. Like just that those 3 films, I don't know, were so epic. Yeah. Not in just the sense of wow, a lot of money went into this, whatever, blah blah blah. It was just like he had such a vision and a passion for like how exactly he wanted these movies to play out, how exactly he wanted the characters to look, like the casting, the score that he worked with, with Howard Shore, just the pacing. As long as those movies are, the pacing, is just amazing and phenomenal. Just he had this like passion. Like you can tell that passion wasn't there for like The Hobbit. For example, for the three Hobbit films, but like just that movie that used like the mix of practical effects and new state-of-the-art CGI effects, and like that's the reason that it still stands today as a movie that you can watch and not be like, wow, that's really bad. It's just there was so much forethought put into these movies. Like there were like 5-6 years of preparation before they even started shooting. And that's something that you get paid for eventually. It gets paid off for, but it's not something you really do for the money. It's just something you do because it's something that you're going to enjoy and be passionate about, because that's just, you're going to inspire so many people. You're going to influence so many people, and, it's going to be this huge thing that defines, a person's childhood or whatever. And that, that's why you do it. And that's like an effect that I wish I could, have eventually. That's
ground-shattering art.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Chaz. I've been talking.
I was just gonna say, like, that's kind of the route I want to go down with my channel in terms of just the whole like reason. Like, I do what I do is just because I just want to entertain. Like, I literally like, and I know probably everyone in the world says this when we first start, but like, money is not a motivator for me. I just, as long as I know I've made someone happy, that's all I care about. That's literally just what I want to do with my channel.
I see that.
There is like a sweet middle ground you do need to hover on, though, because you need to be able to obviously sustain yourself and like get yourself up the ladder a little bit, to even have a shot at doing something groundbreaking, like Peter Jackson directing the Lord of the Rings movies or whatever. Like there's a reason he got to that point, and that's because he took baby steps with all kinds of different projects and whatever, and he needed to obviously survive somehow, and he made money doing this and that. And so money's important, but having the vision and having the drive and the determination to keep going on that dream is much more important.
Definitely. Like,
yeah.
I spend a lot of time. It's weird because this really depresses my current partner. I spend a lot of time thinking about really idealistic futures. Like, what could you craft if you had all of the resources and money available? What would your living space look like if it was limitless in a way? And I always wonder, like, how do you make that transition? Like, I loved when you were mentioning about how you'd love to do animated Albus Potter, because it's I just love having the thought experiment of, oh my god, the potential of this and how real it could be.
Like winning the lottery, right?
Yeah.
Winning the lottery almost done. Yeah, like I feel like if I would win the lottery, it would be like I wouldn't want to just buy a giant house and then live the rest of my life not doing anything. Because that just sounds absolutely horrendous. It sounds absolutely horrendous. And so, yeah, that's what I would do. I would, like, spend, I don't know, $1 gajillion on getting the rights from Warner Brothers or from Rowling. Yeah, from Rowling to be able to use the Harry Potter universe in, like, an animated series.
Yeah.
And then, you know, spend a bunch of money to have, you know, like, or to get, like, the best animators, to get the best writers, you know, the best producers, just get a really good team together and to be able to pay them, you know, a decent amount.
What's your dream team if you were to make that project? Like, what animation studio would you have? What, like, producers would you have?
I mean, Little Witch Academia already did a really good anime Harry Potter.
Little Witch did. If I were going with, like, a dream studio, I would take the studio that did the Avatar series.
Okay.
Yeah. If they got a hold, because they're so detail oriented, like they studied the like all the martial arts, you know, like the four different kung fu types that they use for fire, earth, water, airbending, whatever. They, like, studied those for just years basically, and animated accordingly, you know, and like it just those are just for the fight sequence too, like, you know. But if I were to have like a character feel and like a fighting style or like just an animation style, then I would want it to be like the Avatar series thing.
Yeah. I think I've thought about this a lot. Like, if I ran into a ton load of money, what would I do but still be entertained? Because there's a lot of, especially older people, because they're so close to the grave. When you ask them what would they do, when you ask them what would they do with a ton load of money, it's I'd go on a bunch of holidays, I'd pay off my mortgage, and then I'd chill. I'd love to start just a production company. I'm a bit aimless, but I love the idea of facilitating creatives, because I feel like there's a huge influx of people with skill or talent or a combination of both, but with no opportunities or no equipment. And I'd love to be able to, like, so something that I to a degree love is that they've started YouTube spaces in different cities. I had an opportunity to go to the YouTube space in London.
Oh, really? Is that a thing?
And yeah, it's a thing. It's so basically all it is if you have 10,000 subscribers, and I have 9,000. They will let you they will let you walk in and use professional grade equipment. They'll give you access to professional grade computers for editing it all, and they'll let you piss about in a big green screen room with good cameras, and you can speak to technicians. And that's great. Cool. Is well cool, except the scope of my videos is mainly avatar-based visual editing, so it's like I wouldn't have a massive need for a big green screen environment. But the fact that they're actively giving facilitation to people with potential is cool. But I'd love to take that up a notch. I'd love to take a big warehouse facility, fill it full of any type of music production hardware, and so basically have a brick structure, fill it with hardware and fill it with software for every single art form, and then just recruit a bunch of people. Just grab anybody who thinks that they can do anything with it, and it will be split into half a production company and half an education company, where we'd have students learning the art forms to then be part of the production company creating movies or fucking musicals.
Now let me let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if there were too much of those, like for example, right now you're saying there's like those YouTube Spaces and whatever. What if as of now, like right now, artists who become artists like 99% of them become artists because they struggle to get there, because they put themselves basically through hell and back, and they work like 2 or 3 jobs and still work with their passion because they know that they have something to offer, and then they get there. But if you give people this handicap, for example, like the YouTube Spaces, will the medium become too diluted with mediocre content? Like, what if there are people who want to become creators, quote unquote, but it's like what we were talking about? We're gonna call back here. What if it's like an interest versus a passion?
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Because there's a lot of people that start YouTube channels on YouTube with an interest.
Yes.
And then they fizzle out after a couple weeks of doing videos because they just don't like the commitment. They don't like putting in the time because they want to be able to do other stuff, and it's just taking away from their free time or whatever. But there are the people that remain, the people that keep making YouTube videos every week, every day, whatever. At least they stay consistent. Those are the people who are like, I'm not going to give up on this because I know I have something to offer, and I know that what I can do is good or whatever.
I've had that mentality. Like,
that would be on the assumption
just to talk myself up a bit.
That would be on the partial assumption that consistency goes hand in hand with quality. But it would be. I mean, there's a couple of different
right.
Sorry, go on. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was saying you're right that the consistency and quality don't go hand in hand, but all the time.
In terms of answering that question, it would be like because the influence of art in the world based on how well it's consumed and how many people are consuming it. If a lot of people are consuming mediocre, then for starters, there's a shift in what is considered mediocre. But equally to that extent, it's a case of both professional and casual evaluation of media. I feel as though a lot of YouTubers get good because they have something qualitative to offer, and it shows, like, it speaks for itself in quality. But, like, people the only example that comes to mind and just immediately is there's an anime reviewer called Super Eyepatch Wolf, and he started off like every channel really. He started off very small, but started off immediately very strong with just high detail and high quality in terms of editing and writing. And there was nothing other than that to set him aside from 100 other reviewers online, and he made it. And I think it's because the quality spoke for itself, essentially. So yeah, if I was to give that like an honest answer, it would be in an environment where you give people a lot of tools. Ultimately, their attitude will reflect on their output. If you give a person who's interested but not passionate a bunch of tools, they're still only giving the same amount of effort as previously. They're just given access to they're given access to things. So it's a handicap, like you said, but it won't make them. It won't prove them. They'll prove themselves, I think.
It's true.
I hope.
Then you'll have people like tons of videos and content creators like Guava Juice. I don't know if you know who Guava Juice is.
I've heard of him.
I'll give it a look.
His name just doesn't interest me.
You probably don't want to take a look because it's just.
Oh my god, his face!
Your eyes will probably contract cancer.
Wow. Okay.
But
I mean, Rob, we know a few people whose content is like that.
He looks like he looks like if you took sperm and stuck it in an economiyaki and then poured a can of Monster in it.
If you want to
go Monster, why Monster?
Like it's just a fermented fetus in a cabbage pancake is what he looks like.
Thank you for that.
It's a classic.
Sorry.
Now, if you want a good like recap or like a review of that channel, go watch Gus Johnson's video on Guava Juice. But basically, essentially what it is it's this like, I don't know, cocaine addict 20-something-year-old with his like friends who have access to like a warehouse, a lot of really good equipment, a lot of props, just a lot of stuff. And it's just shit content.
Yeah, I bet.
However, he gets so many views.
I bet he does.
Because just it, I don't know, because half of the people watching it is just watching it because it's shit, and half of them are just kids that are like genuinely entertained because it's just like mind-numbing garbage.
He has a place in the world, not a place that I necessarily support, but there is a wave of mediocrity, and there's a wave of consumers willing to intake that, and I can't.
It just boggles my mind that.
I mean,
that's something people absorb, like reality TV, like keeping up with the Kardashians or like Jersey Shore
or Love
like
Island
just...
is a popular one here in England.
I actually Love Island is actually alright.
No! No! Oh, are we gonna have to terminate this? This podcast is gonna get terminated.
I'll be honest, Love Island is our Love Island
Terrace House.
Oh, fucking hate Love
But
Island.
like, all I would say to that is, in the face of mediocrity, does that not present even more reasons to try and seek out high quality, even at the risk of finding more mediocrity? Is it not worth the search?
It might be,
It
for
might
this,
be.
that's a
Because for every fucking like dumb abridged series, there will eventually be the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That's a horrible.
Yeah.
But I pulled that out of my arse. But what I'm trying to say is, for every shitty fantasy adaptation or attempt at Tolkien, there will be Tolkien somewhere.
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
God.
That's not coming out.
Chaz, let's strip back a bit. Chaz, how the hell's your day been?
My day, you know what? So like, I'm terrible at sleeping because I don't get tired anymore, which is weird. But I feel like because of that is because I don't go to fucking school anymore. Well, no, I've been editing, but it's different. It doesn't require like, any physical exercise. But no, like I had to wake up at fucking 7 today after going to bed at like 3. And that like killed me a bit. But my day's been pretty casual, you know. There's nothing more I can really say, but
there was something that perplexed me, which is when Chaz sent me a very excited video saying that you responded to our message. No. I won't implicate you, Chaz, but I will say that you are 15 years old. And
I'm
you
16.
were very happy to.
Correct.
Oh shit!
What do you mean you don't know?
You are. Oh yeah, quick roll.
You went to my 16th birthday party.
Chaz is 16. I'm 23. Reckon, do you mind me asking how old are you?
I'm 23 as well.
Holy
madness.
shit! We can be friends.
I actually, I turned 23 last month.
Oh hell!
Congratulations!
Okay, Reckon, something that I want to know. When trying to organize your presence on this podcast, Chaz was like, oh, so here are the times hit up this individual and get them. Apparently they're awake from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day. And like on face value, I was like, oh, okay. But inside I was like, who the fuck is this? Why is he there? Like, is this true? Are you what time is it where you are, and are you awake at that time at night?
It's 3:30 a.m.
Oh
right
god,
now.
no.
Oh my god.
And I normally sleep for another 3 or 4 hours. Yeah.
But why?
Wait, when do you sleep?
So it's actually, it has a reasonable explanation behind it. I go to sleep around 7:30.
Wow.
And then I wake up around 2 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And I go to work around 3.
Oh,
Okay.
And so I work from around 3 to 11, 3 to midnight. And then I get home around midnight. And then I do my YouTube stuff from midnight to, when I go to sleep, basically.
Can I ask about your day job? What the hell you
Yeah,
do?
I'm a bartender, barista.
Oh, you suddenly got twice as attractive. I've got...
I'm working at LeBlanc with Sojiro.
Oh my god.
It's nothing that fancy. No.
I'm sure it's not, but like...
But it's a really nice place. It's place with really nice people that I work.
Well, if ever I'm in Japan
So-
at some point, I'll have to hop down.
Chaz, if
Super
ever we're in Japan.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
Also, you've got to wait like an additional 3. King age in Japan is higher than here.
True.
And they're also stricter, I believe, on those. Like you'll get a sterner punishment for trying to break laws there. I think. Is that fair to say?
Like, you cut out for like a second, but are you talking about like drinking?
Yeah. If you're caught like underage drinking in Japan, like, how severe might that be taken by?
Honestly, I've never really seen any problems with it.
That's fair.
Like, it's honestly, I don't think Japan is that strict on it.
No, I think America's the strictest.
I think America's stricter than Japan is.
But we're in the UK, which is also a vastly experienced.
It's also a skengy area.
It's very depressing looking to our English speaking cousins across the pond and seeing them shooting each other and brutalizing each other. Like we like the problems in comparison are so like when we have like situations of police brutality, it's more likely to be police misconduct. Like they just did something that was a bit silly or shitty, but we don't have. I don't want to go into it too much because it's a sad time, but it's kind of scary seeing what comes out of America. It's discouraging in terms of wanting to.
I think of it as it probably happens in the UK as well. It probably like police brutality probably happens. It's just the stuff that comes up in the media in the US and the stuff that comes up in the UK in the media are different. I think the US likes to make drama and entertainment out of their media more than the UK does. Like the BBC in the UK, for example, like it's mostly just news for the sake of news, and it's not really there to terrorize people. Like that, I actually watched a video the other day that was like the difference between the UK and the US in talking about Ebola.
Oh
yeah.
In the media, like the US, it was like the world is ending. Ebola is spreading so quickly. Blah 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 blah. And then in the UK, it's like it's being handled. All the best, brightest doctors are working on it, and it's being contained. Blah 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 blah. So like I think it's definitely not only like does the US have a larger population, a larger area, there's more open space and there's more like highways and like places where police can be brutal and not get caught, for example. There's a lot more opportunity for that to happen. There's a lot more police in America. There's a lot I don't know what the training is like in the UK compared to the US. I don't know if it's like any more rigorous or if it's any stricter or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the US, I just think that a lot of the stories where the police are brutal get brought up a lot more.
Yeah. I can
And it makes it seem like there are a lot more of those cases than the UK, for example, where there probably are some police brutality happenings, but they just aren't showcased in the media because it's not something that like the people probably want to see or want to really think about.
I remember the last time I heard about a police brutality case in the UK was like 2 or 3 months ago, and it went viral on Twitter, and it was like I think like 3 officers trying to arrest this dude, and then like as he was resisting arrest, they had to like obviously take him down, and apparently he was just like apparently he was having a seizure or something like that. Which like
messy.
Maybe it's messy, but they shouldn't like if that person hadn't resisted arrest, that wouldn't have happened. But then again, if they're like saying he's having a seizure, they should like stop and like handle it.
Obviously, there are circumstantial situations that like that where it's really hard for the police and the guy who's getting arrested to make a decision on how to conduct, because it's just it's so
almost fight or flight kind of.
It's so circumstantial, and it's so like you don't really know what to do until you're in the moment and it happens.
So
and I think there's a lot of that in the US.
A development on the conversation about continental differences. The attitude in England, as far as I can see, very patriotic. I do love living in England, the English culture and a lot of the values that we come to appreciate.
Yeah.
But coming from a colonial history and also coming from a more modern perspective, a heavily immigrant led population, like we've got a big influx of different cultures. Nobody really cares about the country's like at its core. It's as easy as just saying we are unpatriotic. We love to live here, but we couldn't give two shits if we were called England. But from you being
except for Brexit, except for the Brexit.
yeah, but that's
let's not get political. Okay,
that had some seedy like Brexit was advertised in the same way that Trump was advertised, in the sense that it gave a lot of people a voice to be.
Oh, you're cutting out quite a bit.
Sorry.
True. I mean,
my last Minecraft stream, I had so many problems.
I watched your Minecraft stream actually. Your last one. You died so many times.
Oh my! But it was so uncalled for. Like there was a creeper that fell from the fucking ceiling.
That happened to me once, and I just quit and never played it again. For
what did I miss?
Rekken was describing or talking about his last Minecraft stream in which he got killed in several inconvenient ways.
Yeah, it was rather unfortunate.
It was, honestly. I can say that from what's the word? Witnessing it.
I love how in the past like half a year there's been an influx of perfectly cut Minecraft screams, and 80% of them are just the existence of creepers.
Yeah.
So it's a messy, dumb
Or
meme,
that one kid doing Minecraft parkour and just failing. I love the one where he does it and he falls and it's just silence. His keyboard isn't, his mouth isn't moving. And then you just hear him slamming his desk with a bit of laptops off, as you can hear a fucking half-eaten bowl of soggy Cheerios with a fucking spoon in it just slamming around. You know what I'm talking about? Because we watched that video together.
When you can hear someone's gamer nest in its shambles. Sorry about the technical malfunction there. Trust that the only time we have a guest, things go wrong. What I wanted to basically to summarize that long ass sentence that I was trying to say, English people are not patriotic, and the ones that are patriotic are sometimes a bit racist.
Yep.
As a half Japanese, half Czechoslovakian, whatever the
Czechs. No, Chex Mix.
Chex Mix.
Do you even know what Chex Mix is?
Oh no, I just got that. No,
is
it's
it anything
the fucking
like Tex-Mex?
No, it's like.
No, it's like a snack. Look, it's like
shit,
look,
right?
it's hold on.
I don't know.
Here.
Post a picture in the Discord.
We'll put it up on screen.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's just
I
like
get
a mix.
that now.
It's a mix of white shit.
That just clicked as you was like, do you know what that means?
So the question is, are you patriotic? And if you are, is it Japanese patriotism?
Hell no.
I don't see the point.
First of all, I didn't spend my adolescence, teenage years, whatever, like the time you really grow up, you know, in Japan, and I spent it in the U.S. But at the same time, I really don't see what the U.S. has to be patriotic about. It has two, maybe 300 years, not even 300 years of history. It's such a young country.
Yeah.
And it's so inexperienced, and it's not even like one of the greatest countries in the world, you know, anymore. Yeah. It doesn't have that much to be patriotic about. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't make too much sense. Okay. Yeah. For country I can perfectly understand patriotism from countries with long histories like China. Yeah. Like being patriotic as a Chinese citizen, I can understand that. Like China has literally 5,000 years of history behind it, and you know, it's honestly going to be the next superpower. Yeah, because there's nothing the U.S. can do to stop it other than taxing the tariffs.
How long have we been going for? We're going for an hour and 15 minutes. How are we
Oh,
feeling?
we're doing well.
We're doing well.
Oh,
What's
boy.
the thoughts, lads? Do we continue or do we call it here?
I mean,
What's
we
the
said
plan?
we'd take up an hour of your time, and I'm having a lovely time. But I also wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to impose
No.
on our lovely guest.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Reckon?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. It was pretty good talking to you guys, honestly.
Appreciate that. Chaz, this is your podcast, and I'm your puny tiny dick guest.
My co-host. That's what the correct is.
Small meat gang or tiny meat gang.
Tiny, is that a thing? Is tiny meat gang a thing?
Tiny. Hey, do you not watch Cody or Noah Miller?
Oh, yeah.
No.
The only thing that I think I've seen from him is dude, ew! What
Oh,
the fuck?
oh, okay.
Dude, what the?
I know.
You eat cum? you eat cum powder?
Hell.
They're hilarious. You should watch them. They're
we
really
will
good.
we'll certainly check them out.
I'll give it a go.
All right, lads. Thank you so much for,
Oh, I'm
for
having
watching
such a good
the
time.
podcast. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get Reckon back on at some point.
Yeah, real talk, Reckon. You seem like a busy individual, working a day job like the rest of us, and doing that YouTube grind on the side. But honestly, it's been a genuine
It has.
treat having you.
I don't think we could have
no,
asked
thank
for
you.
a better first guest, to be honest.
No, I'm actually surprised that I was your first guest. I thought you guys had a couple
Oh.
people before me.
No.
Oh
we-
no! Oh no!
This is a for starters. Regardless as to we barely upload.
But no, speak for yourself,
We've been
Heretic.
doing
alright?
more recently. Like we've been using podcasting and a waifu review series as a surplus for like a
Sure.
regular stream of content, and it's fun
Sure.
to do. But honestly, I fall in and out of love with YouTube and wish I was doing more. I wish I could give my audience something. But yeah,
Well,
so
when the video goes up, let me know and I will promote it on my
Oh.
Discord and
Oh,
on my
fuck.
YouTube and stuff.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Chaz,
that.
you might finally hit 300.
I'm at 140 or something.
I said 300. Yeah,
Wow.
sorry to
Big
keep
things.
waffling. Reckon it's been genuinely really nice chatting with you, and if you do feel like making your way here again at some point,
Honestly,
then
just
we'd love
hit
to have
us,
you.
hit us up. We will absolutely be able to just like fit you in. It's honestly, this has probably been our best podcast. I'm going to say that, like, for the fact that we've got a guest on for once, and for the fact that it's just been such a good conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you, man, so much. I really wanted
Hey,
to
no-
have a guest
no
on,
problem.
and I'm happy that you could join us today.
No problem.
lads,
Happy to be here.
thank you, man. I will leave links to my Twitter, Reckon's Twitter, and Rob's Twitter, as well as his channel in the description.
Yeah, Chaz, you never put up my channel, but you always put up my shitty name Twitter.
Because people know who you are, but I'll put you up anyway, okay? Because I'm a nice guy. But yeah, I'll leave links.
But
and
I'll be
everything.
at the top though. I'll be at the top.
I mean, fuck it, sure if you
'Cause
want. I'll put you
I'm
at the
a
top.
top, so.
Oh damn! Is this where it's going? The final? Are we gonna have to cut this off?
But yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, right, lads. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice night.
Alright.
We'll see you another day. Take care, boys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.